What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crafter Hours. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another stream where we get together and try to work on something interesting, and we'll see what happens today. I don't know. We're sort of in a kind of a point where we finished all the work that we wanted to do, at least to get the deployment of the site working, and now we have to think about what we want to do to continue the development of the features of the site, because right now it's kind of just a plain boring website that has, you know, listings of Emacs packages, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. So we're going to get back to that today and see how far we can get. If you're here this morning, say hello in the chat so I can greet you. We were just having a nice little somber chat over in System Crafters IRC about the state of the software engineering job market. That was a lot of fun. Trev says, hi, David Wilson from System Crafters. Hello, Trev. Yeah, we're old, Trev. We're getting phased out like old dogs. Not really. I mean, it's just a matter of being creative and trying to find a solution to the problem instead of me whining about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to find a solution to the problem. And that's okay, you know? It is what it is. I see it as a challenge and as an opportunity to do something new, so it's not a big deal. Slightly translucent Monster can today. Ultra Fiesta Mango flavor. Yeah, first time trying this one. It just happened to be there, so I grabbed it. It's interesting. I've noticed, though, that Monster tends to have like 3 different overall flavor profiles that just get tweaked slightly for each flavor. Maybe 3, 4, 5, I don't know, but it's not that many. They all kind of taste the same in the end. But the best one is Ultra Paradise, I have to say. Trev says, if I'm an old dog, I will go out with a few chomps before they put me to sleep. Well, that's probably the right thing to do, you know, but just, you know, squeeze every last cent out of the job that you have. That's all I can say. And spread your rabies. Well, if you can infect them with knowledge and experience and understanding, that'd be good. That's what rabies means in this context. Hello to Glenn, to Trev, to Cal. I saw Jadzi join on the IRC. Haven't seen anybody on the YouTube side yet. And if you want to join the chat that shows up on the overlay up here, either go to systemcraftersnet.net/live for the embedded IRC, or join irc.libra.chat and the systemcrafters-live channel. And that's where that chat overlay comes from. I want to do some more fun stuff with that soon. Probably as we have made more progress on the projects of... Where's the... Man, I've got so many Fosstodon tabs open that now anytime a notification pops, it just starts making noises. Anyway, after we make more progress on our EmacsPackages.com project, we're probably going to flip to some other projects like the Stream Overlay or SystemCrafters.net, etc. Trev says, I heard that notification and started looking around my tabs. Yeah, I'm sure I confused everyone at that moment. Sorry for that. So yeah, we're going to have some fun, but we'll have fun today too, I think, because we're finally back to working on new features. So if you don't know so far what we've been working on, we are building a website called EmacsPackages.com. You can go check out the staging version of that at staging.emacsPackages.com. So the idea is that this is a site where we index all available Emacs packages to present them to you, so that you can kind of see what packages are available, look at them based on keywords, and then see tips that are authored by users of the site for various different packages, and also for the users to self-identify which packages they use in their configuration, so that we can get some interesting information like what are the most popular packages, which packages are used together, this kind of thing. So I don't know how great it's going to be. It's just an idea, something we can do to write a real-world web application using Guile Scheme, and I'd say it's been going pretty well so far. On last week, on Monday, the goal was to figure out why the site was down. Because on the previous week, we made quite a few changes to the site, and I happened to break it. And we started on Monday last week trying to figure that out. I think we did figure it out by the time that I had to leave. I had to leave early because of a kind of a kid health emergency situation, which is all good now. But I didn't really finish what I had started on that stream. So after the stream was over, I went and finished what I was doing, which was trying to fix the Geeks package for the website to generalize the way that we wrap the Guile load path. So if I actually pull that up, I can explain it to you a little bit better. Let's see. Did I not have the diff up anymore? VC dir, log. Let me see. Generalized load path wrappers. Can I not view the damn change? VC diff log. How do I... I'm on VC mode. Pressing enter apparently doesn't do the job. Control what? Control C, Control H. I'm kind of curious, like, what the binding would be for this. No. Control X, V, Control H. Print log, yeah. Revision other window. Was it Control V, Control X, V tilde? Not associated with the file. Who the hell knows? Emacs, VC mode, diff. I don't know. Old revisions. Just trying to figure this out because I need to do this, but I don't do it often enough that I remember what the key binding is. Log. Wait. No. Anyway, let's go to the packages, or package, what was it? Packages.scm file, and I'll just show you the code. Why not just do that? Okay, so this is the package definition. Previously what we had was kind of a really hacky approach. Not hacky, it's just, it didn't look good to me because we were really manually wrapping the startup programs for both the sync archive script and the start server script. So both those scripts are scripts we use to launch the application. One of them syncs all the Emacs package archives to the local database, and the other starts the actual Guile scheme process that serves the backend. Now, we had quite a lot of code here before. I'm gonna have to go use the stupid web interface to do this, unfortunately. So previously we had a lot of, wait, where was that? Oh, okay, I had done it before that. That's fine. Simplify wrapper script generation. So there was a whole bunch of stuff in here where I was like getting all the individual packages that are inputs to the Emacs packages project, which are really just the Guile scheme library packages, and then doing a manual wrapping. So one thing you can do with Geeks when you install a program by, writing a Geeks package is to wrap that program with a script that sets up the environment for the program so that it has the right things necessary from the Geeks environment to operate correctly. Apparently, when you package a Guile scheme application, you have to manually wrap the script or the program with a script that has the Guile load path and the Guile load compiled path environment variables set up for all the dependencies that you need to pull into your project, even the transitive dependencies of those dependencies. So if a library that you depend on depends on another Guile library, you have to add both of those into your wrapper script, which I don't like. I think it's kind of terrible. I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. I have theories, but I haven't validated them yet. But it seems that you're forced to do this. I've looked at a few of the other Guile program packages in the Geeks repository, and they do this also. So I had to do this sort of manual wrapping here where I'm, for both startserver.scm and syncarchives.scm, I had to go set up Guile load path and load compile path manually. So there's a lot of lines of code to set up the programs to be executed correctly. What I wanted to do last time was to generalize this so that it is easier to do and cleaner to do, easier to maintain, and I did manage to finish that after the last stream. So last week at some point off stream, I went and finished it. So what I did was I just made it so that the list of dependencies is now just a list of strings here. So I just tell it which package names for the Guile dependencies, Guile library dependencies that I want to pull in the wrapper script. And then I started using this cool little cut macro. I don't know if you've ever heard of cut before, but it's actually Surfy26. It's basically an approach for partial application of functions. And in this case, when you say cut, you're partially applying a soak ref or soak ref. I don't remember how to pronounce that correctly. With an actual parameter of inputs, and this little forward or backward forward angle bracket syntax here actually says this is the parameter to be made into a parameter to the resulting lambda that this cut returns. So what this does, this cut actually turns into lambda x a soak ref inputs x, and it just saves me from having to actually make a lambda for that. I can just use this cut syntax to kind of make it like a one-liner of a partial application of the soak ref function. So I'm passing that in the map so that I get the actual package input object back for all these dependencies as the deps binding. And then in make load wrapper, I'm just making a little helper function inline as part of the let binding, which when given a file or file name, it calls wrap program the same way as before. And then for Guile load path and Guile compiled load path, I'm splicing in the result of a map over deps, and I'm also using cut again here to use string append to append the dependency name along with the SCM path, which is the scheme source path under share of the profile, and the same thing for the compiled load path, the go path, basically the compiled object path on the profile. So it's a lot more concise now. I don't like it. I don't like that I had to do this, but at least it's more maintainable, and it's not like 30 lines of code for something that should be abstracted. So it feels better. I'm not disgusted by it, and I kind of like the fact that I got a chance to use this cut syntax. I think I'll probably use that a lot more now, because it does have this one really valuable use case, which is many times there is a procedure that you just want to specialize one parameter for, but you have some other things you kind of want to bake in. And this cut makes it really easy to just pass that in sort of as like a little one-liner to the map expression. So that's the fix for that. The site obviously is back up and running, so I fixed things related to that. There's some other changes that I did as well. I think to sort of fix the whole channel situation, site surface should depend directly on site DB init. I just want to make sure that there's no timing issue on starting up the site and synchronizing the database the first time. And since it only really matters the first time, we're not going to be synchronizing all the package archives every time that we start this site. That shouldn't really matter. I need to double check that though, that we're not doing that. Handle dev equals true better by avoiding use of certs. So when I do local development in a container, I need to make sure that I'm not trying to use SSL because I can't use SSL in the container because I can't do the Let's Encrypt setup to make the certificate requests. And because of that, I can't use certificate paths in the Nginx configuration. Otherwise, Nginx complains and doesn't start because the certificate paths aren't found. So I had to add a little bit of extra hackiness to the service definition so that, and also the package definition, well, mainly service definitions, to make sure that I'm not actually loading up certs in dev mode. Let's see, simplify shepherd scripts. Yeah, that was just something from another time. Don't initialize DB schema when server starts. I think we had done that on the stream too. So I just sort of deleted that line where we update the DB schema when the server starts. I'm starting to come back around. GK Suda says, use module Davawheel energy monster. Yeah, I got some monster energy right now. I'm sort of warming up to the idea of merging the sync archives logic into the server itself. At some point, Apoorv had tried to put everything together into a main.scm file, and I'm starting to think that might be the better approach, because having it be a two-phase approach right now, where there's a sync archive script that runs first, and then we separately start the backend for the site, means that we can't really like display what would you call it? Not an under construction, but a down for maintenance or warming up type screen very easily for the site whenever the database is being synchronized, which probably doesn't matter. However, it does matter whenever we need to automate the DB migrations on first startup of the site after we update it. So there's like a small window of time where the site needs to respond with some kind of page to let the user know that it's not down, it's just, momentarily under maintenance. So anyway, point being, it may make sense to put everything together into a single program going forward. So I don't think we'll do that today necessarily, unless I just sort of get antsy and do it, but it will probably happen. I should probably just add that into our list of tasks. So let me quickly go over and look at the other repository. Did I sync all this stuff correctly? I think I did it all on this machine. Let me just make sure there's nothing new. Pretty sure it's not. Okay, already up to date. And then I want to go over to the server configurations repo as well. Let's pull that, make sure nothing new is there. Already up to date. Can I do like window? Delete window. I want to do like delete other window. Delete other window. Oh, of course. All right. So what's the log on this one? Scripts for dev and deployment. All right, I think I had done, that's all the same stuff. Use local co-located channel instead of repo path. Okay, there was one change I did on the server configurations repo. And I stopped using the channels dev file because I wanted to use the local repositories for the projects to do development, local development. So instead of using that channel file, I went back to using the normal channels.scm file, and then I used I added the local emacspackages.com repo as a load path to Geek System Container, so that whatever the latest code is of the project, I can easily create a container to test it out. Don't really need to do that a whole lot, but it might become a little bit more necessary when we start using Postgres. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, Arno. All right. Tony says, my girlfriend and I got back together. She finally got herself back up to POSIX compliance. Thanks for the advice on that. I don't know if I provided any advice to help with that particular issue. I remember the conversation, though. All right. So let's get to it. Let's go to the Crafter Hours log. Agenda. If I can stop pressing enter in the wrong place. Uh-oh. I need to like set a rule in Sway to never turn on the screensaver whenever OBS is running. Agenda. We may end up doing the script thing that I mentioned before, just because like now that I see this, like there's just this logic needs to be put together in one place. Make sure there's no lingering issues from the channel conversion. I'm pretty sure we're okay on that now. I think that's good. Ensure tip creation requests are being authenticated. Let me take this. I'm going to put it right here. Made sure, figured out. I think that we made sure the initial data sync is working correctly. It was working. All right, so ensure tip creation requests are being authenticated. We do want to do that. Ensure DB migrations are being applied by sync archives with existing DB. Sorry, my mouth is not cooperating with my brain today. Ensure there's a public user creation page. So yeah, we do need to do these things, that's for sure. Also, provide an interface for a user to pick which packages they use. So really the two that matter the most, the others matter too. I used all my energy on Friday's stream. Did I? I know that was kind of punchy, that stream. I was kind of watching it back a little bit. I didn't really get to the new metal parts of it, but I don't know. We had fun, I guess. As usual, didn't really make a whole lot of progress, but I guess it's just all the talking. Tony said, you mentioned to focus on other things and prioritize system immutability instead of POSIX compliance. So yeah, I went at the relationship from more of a declarative style. It's much more stable. Oh, well, you know, I don't know that just, you know, declaring things and expecting your partner to make them so is the right way to go. But I guess it works for some people. Not really for me, though. All right. So we need to make sure that users can create accounts. I don't remember creating an interface for that. So we need to go check that one is there. And if it's not there, we need to make it. Then we need to provide an interface for a user to pick which packages they use. Now, my thought was I would just let you go through the list of packages and click a button and say, hey, I use this. And I just happened to casually mention to my wife yesterday that I was going to add this feature. And she's like, oh, so you're going to do like auto completion of the package names or something? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually a much better way to do this. So we might do a thing where you type in the name of the package that you use and it sort of gives you a list that filters down. I'm pretty sure we could do that with Datastar. So we're going to give that a shot at some point. Should make it a lot easier to pick packages. So we'll do that. All right. Ensure the DB migration will be applied. I think that's it. That's probably all we have time for. So first, let's check and see if that we actually have a user creation page. Like I said, I don't really think so. Probably the best place to look to start with is the routes file. So go back over to Emacs packages, routes.scm, and let's just see what routes we have. All right, so users/create. Okay, that's probably a handler and not a view. We probably need like a register page, like register, and then a user registration view. I'm starting to wonder if I can actually type or read. Both of those will be necessary. Let's go to users.scm, the views page. Oh, user create handler is empty? I swear to God, we had this before. But maybe not. So either way, the way that Datastar works, we don't really need to have as much of an like a REST API type vibe on all of this. We don't really need to have like a full API interface set up. Harish says, which language is that? Haskell? No, this is Scheme. So we don't really need to have like a REST interface. We could do it in a way that's a bit more kind of blended together with Datastar. If you don't know what Datastar is, it's a really cool hypermedia framework that I'm excited about. I think it works really well for Scheme, so that's what we're using for the interface for this project. So in the register endpoint, we can do something a little bit different. We don't have to have a route for this. We can actually just send the state of the UI. So let's just start hacking this out a little bit. Define public user registration, or should it just be register view? Because that's more of the let's see, user register view. Oh, also, let's start up the site so that we can do some live coding on this as well. So let me make sure that we're all good here. I'm gonna do a, well, let's not do a false. That's fine. So it's been a minute since we did this. I can run metax compile. In fact, I should probably go, let's see, control XPC ex shell dash m, nope, dash f geeks.scm dash d dash f geeks.scm. There we go. And then scripts start server.scm. Let's see. It may take a minute because I've updated my system since then, so it might need to pull some stuff. Okay, there it goes. Localhost 8080, boom. We're good to go. Package listing, do we actually have anything synced? We have some things synced. All right, so we're live. Now if I were to go to the register endpoint, it's gonna crash because we don't have the right number of stuff being returned by the user register view. Click here to log in with Facebook. No, we're not doing that, Trev. That's not the kind of site we run here, buddy. CTX buddy. All right, so we need a normal handler, and we need to return a page. Register an account. Can't remember. All right, so that should be good enough just to see. So let's evaluate this. Ooh, I didn't do Geyser Connect. Localhost 37146. There we go. We got a REPL up. Eval that. Possibly unbound variable user. Ah, yes, my mistake. Let me check what we're doing in other places. So input. Input. There we go. All right, so we need to set up our signals. In fact, we can just copy and paste that whole body. And I'm gonna paste it here so we can just sort of rip some things out of it. So if you don't remember, one of the aspects of Datastar is this idea of signals. Signals are actually data or state, let's say. It's state for the user interface at any given point. And here we're defining a state object for this part of the UI where we have an error message string, which we could use if we need to, username, password, and probably we need some other stuff here as well. Like, I think I might end up needing like a function that can generate the string at some point as well, so that we don't have to keep, hard coding signal object stuff here. We'll get to that at some point. User password, name. So that's probably good enough to start with. Account details. I'm gonna put in these two. So basically what we're doing, password, there we go. Basically what we're doing here is just creating a UI that binds to these signals we've created already. So username and password are gonna be bound to the input field. So input and then data bind username, same thing for the password. It's a password type field and it also binds the password. We also need to have their name as well, if they wanna put one. So we can drop that field in as well. I don't remember what we called it in the database though. So let me go look at the users models field. Full name. Okay, so name, full name, email, bio. All right. So we can say full name. We can say that's optional. Let me turn on KeyCast tab bar mode. There we go. This is going to be binding full name, password, full name. We're also going to add password. We'll add bio. Data bind bio. This will be a text input, so HTML text input or text area. All right, text area. There we go. Okay, so there's that. This needs to be on a different line too, I think. We'll deal with that later. All right, so we want a bio as well. Bio. I'm also starting to think it's getting about time to create a another repo that has some of this stuff that I'm working on as shared libraries, because I'm going to start using them across multiple sites. So some of the stuff that we're doing for Datastar needs to be in a shared repo. Maybe some of the database stuff, the database migration code. Also, I'm going to write some stuff to make route handling a little bit easier to register. So that should be in a shared repo. What was the other thing? Oh, generating CSS from Scheme. So basically like SXML style CSS generation. So all that stuff needs to be somewhere else so it could be reused in other projects. And it won't happen today, but it will probably happen pretty soon, because I've been thinking about that. It'll probably be a repo with multiple packages where the source is all together, like a mono repo, and the it can be pulled in as a channel, but the packages may still need to be versioned, because, well, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll think about that. We'll think about that. But anyway, point is, I think this stuff needs to be broken out into separate libraries pretty soon. Okay. So, Glenna says, how is OAuth being handled? This site does not use OAuth for now. This is very, very basic authentication patterns that we're just writing ourselves, which is probably not the best thing to do, but it's what we're doing. I could force people to use the System Crafters forum to log in, but I think that wouldn't be very nice. Because, you know, general Emacs community people might not be so happy about having to log in to the System Crafters forum to use the site. So I'm not going to be that evil. All right, username, password, full name, bio, also email you need. Email is not optional, but we currently do not have the ability to send emails. I have a way to do it, which is probably against the terms of service for a provider that I use, but we might have to come up with another option for that at some point. I would love to host my own mail server, but I just feel like the mail is not gonna get out to the people who need to be emailed. Glenn says, one way to drive engagement with the forum, though. Yeah, I think the better way to drive engagement with the forum is for me to actually participate more there and to make things happen there. And I put that all on me, as usual. All right, so that should be enough for the whole form. We can probably just let me do that part. Login, H3, show login error message. I can probably drop that in as well. We also need the button. Trev says log in with the form sounds like a decent idea. It would be. Whoa. All right, I screwed something up here. Sheesh. All right, finally got back to it. There we go. I was sweating for a minute there. All right, so there we go. Now we're back to the form. We got the data signals already. We do need the button. So we're going to steal that little button logic here. And button, log in. And where does that go? Right here, here. There we go. That's good. This is not login. This is register. We're going to do a post action to the register endpoint, which also means we need to it means we also need to handle post actions on this endpoint. So let me also check where we're handling post. Right here, and case request method. All right. So we're going to go up here and drop this in. We'll do a full. All right, so request method request. I think we need to pull it out with context quest. All right, so we got a little case action here, and then we pull that out like that. Then we move here, and then post. There we go. And also, what did I do in the post section on this page? All right, so we're pulling out the signals. Under the post. All right, here we are. So, what we do, so whenever Datastar has a form and you use its own little post action link handler, let's say, to send a request to your backend, it doesn't do the normal thing where it's like form data. What it does is send a JSON blob as the body, which just has the content of the signals at the point where you sent the request. So we can pull that out and then parse the JSON. So we're pulling the string body of the request out, the body out. We're parsing that JSON to an A list, effectively a scheme A list, which is now our signals. And then we're gonna continue to pull out the various fields that we need to affect the user creation. So in this case, and in fact, if we were to be a little bit smarter about this, I could use the functionality of the JSON library for Guile to define a type that makes it easier to read this information out, so we don't have to use a SOAK-ref for this purpose. But I'm just going to do it this way for now, just to move things along. Full name. So log info, creating user. Am I logging the password out every time the person logs in? That would be really dumb, wouldn't it? Let's do this. There we go. That's a bit better. Creating user. All right, so creating user, and we're not going to do this whole rigmarole here. Let me just, whoa. Okay, that lines up. All with output string, lambda port. I need to make this easier to write out as a response as well. Register error message. I'm just going to do this to start with, okay? Unspecified request method, JSON string. Okay, fine. So we need and what else are we missing? UTF-8 string, log info, merge signals. So we need to have use module Datastar. We need to have use module. I'm pretty sure it's RNRS byte vector. Byte vectors. There we go. And log info. So site logger. All right, now we got a working function. Let's go back to the register form. And now we do have the register form. I'm gonna have to wrap these in divs probably to make them work correctly. Now, what did I do on the user login form? And why is login separately from user? That's kind of stupid. I might need to merge these files. So div label input, label input. That worked fine for that, but I think for this we're gonna have to split up into divs. So div, 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 and then another div here that's going to be for the label, and then a div for the text area itself, because I want that to be on a separate line, and a div for the button. I guess that could be like this. Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. Yuck, what's that? I think that I need to have an empty string here inside of the text area as the initial value. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay, there we go. Probably need to set some fields on this as well. So text area width, 80. No, needs to be a string probably. I feel like it's 80 characters. No. Text area tag, width, oh, rows and columns. Okay, got it. Also, I screwed up the attributes. There we go. That's too big, though. So columns 50, rows 10. That's better. Okay. Need to do some CSS work on these a little bit too, because the spacing is kind of whacked. In fact, this should probably be a table. So we'll worry about that later. So foo@bar.com, full name Foobert, password 123. Hi. Now when I hit create account, let's see, what did it do? Compile. I didn't see it actually do anything. Let's open up the inspector and check out the network. Oh, there's something going on in the console here. Login error message is not defined. Where am I talking about login error message? There's register error. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so we're gonna have to type in all that stuff again. No big deal. All right, so okay, so it returned back it works. That's because it went to the back end. It says creating user foo. So it did get back to the back end, and our response was able to pick up on the signals that were sent. Okay, so the information that was coming from the form did get to the back end. We were able to pull that out. Now we can actually just create a user account with that. What errors do we need to deal with? So what constitutes an error? User already exists, or username already exists, let's say. Username is a restricted name, like no root, etc. Let's see, what else? Email is not a valid address or valid format, let's say. What else? Password is not the minimum length. I don't know how much I really care, but maybe we should enforce some characteristics for passwords. Datastar has some validation stuff built in too, so I should probably look at that. What else? That's kind of it, right? Database here. All right. So first of all, we need to check to see if a user already exists. Do we have any code for that? Create user, read user details, DB username. So we could use read user details. We don't necessarily want all the user information. It's more of like a binary yes or no, does it exist? But I think we can just stick with that for now. So first of all, so maybe I should do the opposite here. Do the check in this part of the code. If existing user, let's see. Yeah, this seems like I don't want to be calling merge signals every single time there's an error, so we kind of need an abstraction for this. Where's the port? That's the call with output string. I'll answer your question in a sec, Trev. Okay, so all right, user A already exists, and that's username. Whoops, I put an end quote there. All right, otherwise, we can continue on with the code. Trev says, what does merge signals do? So merge signals is a concept of Datastar where whenever you are returning a response from a Datastar action, like the post action that we're doing whenever the user clicks on the create account button or the register button, it inserts an event into the server sent events response or the endpoint that says update the signals in the page with the specified variable. So in this case, we're saying update the register error message signal that we've already defined up here. Update that with a new value. So what we're sending back is basically an error message that can be displayed. And here we are inserting an extra H3 that says to show the value of register error message. Only show this H3 if there is a value in register error message, and if so, set the text of the div of the H3 to register error message, the value of that. So we're basically sending an error message back from the back end to dynamically update the front end display for the error. All right. You're welcome, sir. So if existing user, if the user doesn't exist, we can go ahead and try to create the user. So let new user, and we need to do some other validation, but we'll check that in a minute. Create user, DB, name, password, full name, email, bio. We got all that stuff already. So context, DB, context was username, password, full name, username, password, full name, email, and bio. We have not gotten the rest of those yet. Do I return something at the end of this? I think so. I don't really need it. If new user, then we probably want to redirect the login. I don't know, maybe. Otherwise, we want to show error port format F unknown error. That's a really nice error message. What can I say? And in fact, we don't really even need the format because I'm not putting anything in there. So here we could do a redirect. I've done it before with the login page. Kind of a cheeky little thing. We we execute a script, which means we're going to inject JavaScript into the page to send you to the login page. I know it seems kind of wacky to do that, but it is what you can do with Datastar. All right, so we're missing some closing expressions, some closing parentheses, because we've added some new levels here. There we go. All right, so possible unbound variable email bio. That's correct because I haven't pulled those out yet. So let's just grab those real quick. I'm going to just drop this in right here. So we're just going to pop those two. So we need email, bio. Oh, bio. Okay. That seems good now. So let's reload the page. Yeah, username, foo, email, foo. Create account. Okay, so it went back to the login page, which means it must have succeeded. So let's go back to the registration page. Still logged in as David Will, apparently. Let's try to create a username called foo. User foo already exists. Apparently I have an errant single quote. So at least we can tell them that the user already exists. Foo. User foo already exists. All right, cool. So that works. Yes, thank you, Open Source Death Ray. This is Guile Scheme. That's right. All right, so user foo already exists. Good. So let's look at Datastar's validation stuff, because we should probably validate that some of these fields are not empty, first of all. So get started. I'm gonna look at the reference. Attribute plugins. Also how-tos. No, examples. Validation, inline validation. Only email that will be accepted is test@test.com. Foo, test@test.com. Cool. Wait. Okay, now it's fine. Show me the code. Where is the code? Where is the code? Inline field validation, in the case of an email address, do this when you create a form with an input that posts, create a form with an input that posts back to the server with the value to be validated and updates DOM with the validation results. Since it's easy to replace a whole form, the logic for displaying the validation results is kept simple. Interesting. So it seems like they're just, sending back the entire field. They got like a timer or something that is sending a request back to the server to get the updated form. Really? Don't they have like the source code in other places? No, apparently not. Active search, we want that for later. Okay. Not infinite scroll. We want inline validation. So if I look at the actual code, is it going to tell me anything, or is it going to be just filled with gibberish because of the everything being wired up? Data bind email, data on key down debounce. Okay, so we're debouncing the on key down event and sending a get to the data test ID input email. What's it doing? All right, data star GitHub, GitHub. Hey, Peter. We're working on the user registration page. We're just adding a little bit of validation logic. We need to kind of move on from that. Maybe I won't add full validation yet. I just want to kind of like get it started, just have a sense for how it will work. That's not the examples I'm looking for. Single site SSO with forum auth. Well, we talked about that before, and I don't really want to do that because I don't want to force people from the Emacs community to have a forum account just to log into this website. Feels like it would be a little bit wrong. Maybe that's just me. So where's the damn site? Site, there it is. All right, valid inline site routes. Cool, there we go. Better, all right. So we can see how they wrote theirs. Class form control, class label, span class label text. Ah, nice. They've generalized a validatable component. I like that, all right. This is the benefit of doing things on the back end. You can just use normal abstractions. Inline validation field component, email address. Does this really go? What is this I'm looking at? I'm guessing this is templatized Go code that gets spit out as a real file at some point. I'm just kind of surprised to see like HTML baked inside. All right, so inline validation, field component, email address, email is field valid. Yeah, it would be cool to have like a library for this kind of thing as well. Is email valid? Is first name valid? Is last name valid? So there are functions that are being used for the validation, but where are they? Oh, okay. So this is being called with the validation functions included. Whatever, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like, I could see the need. For an abstraction to like not have to do this whole manual div stuff every time through. I don't want to write that right now, but I'm thinking about it. So basically you can define the fields that you want to display just using normal scheme code and like procedure calls, let's say, and then have that be wrapped up in a form type of sorts that then you can extract the values from when it comes back as signals. And then it would also automate the ability to generate the signal string for the div that wraps the whole form, just as a way to make that repeatable. So class is not so important. Data bind field, data on key down. So that's sort of what we're doing here. Examples inline validation data. What does a data endpoint do? Inline validation, form control. Yeah, that's actually what we should be doing. So, whoops, I'm putting Emacs key bindings into the browser. What we should do, instead of this redirect that I just did, is we should return a new fragment that replaces the entire form and says, oh, your user account has been registered. Or register form, let's say, register form. And then we can replace that entire form with a thing saying that they should go log in. So instead of that, merge fragment. Whoops. All right, so merge fragments, div. And what this does is it will replace the same, replace the element with the same ID. We got our div here, and now we're just gonna have an H3 inside that says, other computer keeps going to sleep. Your user account has been created. Please. There we go. That should work. All right, so for validation, okay, we got about 20 more minutes we can spend on validation, then we got another hour to finish the rest of the stuff that we want to do. So I think it's probably not too bad. I don't see the data for this. Inline validation field component. What we need is another endpoint, like validation under or something like that. Let's go back here to routes. Okay, register validate handler. Okay, and that's going to be a separate procedure. This is a place where some abstraction actually would be useful. So let's think about this for a second. Maybe we can quickly just sketch something out. Define register form. Form field name label. Right, so username. right? And got it. Okay, must be at least 2 characters. Cool, cool, cool. Also, validation functions. Okay, let's go with this for now. Name, field name, field label, label. So form field will have a validator, which could be false. Now, this may also need to be a record. So maybe this will be a record type. And I might make a wrapper function for this as well, so that I don't have to make the user specify or the caller specify everything. Let's see. So, actually, we can just make this call make form field. Name, label, validator. That's fine. It's okay for now. And okay, I need to reeval the imports. Now we have a form field record type, make form field name, label, validator. We're gonna do our little function here. That's cool. All right, so define not empty, return string length, string trim. Let me double check that. So geyser. Okay. Oh. I think it's string trim both. Is that what it was? Both. Boom. All right. So there we go. If string length let's see. Whoa, I don't know how I just did that. Okay, so equal or EQL, let's say string length I want it to be false. Or true, actually. Okay, yeah. So do it like this for now. So if this is equal to 0, then it's going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to return a string. So when it returns a string, we know that there's a validation error. Probably not the best API for that, but that's fine. Label. Number of arguments is string length. String trim both value. Whoopsie. Yep. There we go. That's right. Oh, EQV. What am I thinking? All right. That's fine. We got form field. We got the record type. Value, not empty value label. All right. So we've got a register form. The form field for username, email, not empty. Full name, not empty. But that's just to start with. Okay. Other things to put in here would be form field, email, right? We've got email already. Username, email, full name, password. And text area. Bio. We're just going to leave that as false. In fact, let's change. Whoop. Let's change the form field function to make is opt, right? Let's see. Guile define star. Guile scheme. Lambda and define star. So I need to just use, okay, it's optional. Let's go back to that, put define star. And then we also want keys as well. So key type. Or it could just be a symbol input. Okay, so that should work. All right, and I think I should be able to, this is in users, right? Use users. All right, so form field, password, validator would be not empty. Cool. Now, let's go and do this as well. Name, type, form field type. I'm going to put type here. Whoops. Okay. Now we can see the input type is input. All right, so we got that. For the password field, we want to say that the type is password. Unbalanced parentheses. How did I do that? It's weird. Okay, fine. All right, so type password worked. Not only that, we probably need some additional parameters to be passed in. So let me just drop this down, actually. Drop this down and then drop this down as well. And we will also say, we not only have type input, we have attributes. For customization. So attributes. This would be for like a text area field, let's say. Okay. And for bio, this would be type text area. And we could say attributes. Rows. What did we say before? Rows 10, calls 50. Okay. So now, define emit form field. Okay, we're good. So emit form field, and then we want to just pull the information out of the form field, so we can do a do a little match lambda action here. And let me pull in ICE9 match. Okay, so we got ICE9 match up. And for the match lambda, we are going to do the field extraction. Let me make sure I got that. So Guile ICE9 match. Can't remember the actual syntax. I think it's $. Record name, and then the patterns. I think that those have to actually be the real order of all the stuff. So we're going to pull them all out and refer to form field here. There we go. Now we've got all that out, so we don't have to call the accessor functions every time. So div. And this is going to be synthesized as ID form field A with the name, so that we can replace that directly. Because we want to re-emit the value of the form field. Let me also think about this for a second. We may want to emit the form field along with any validation message. But let's not think about that just yet. Let's just continue on without it. So here, we're going to do a label. You know, I guess we should do... How do they do it on their example page? I think that they have it be... Yeah, okay, that seems fine. Let's just do it this way. We're gonna have the label right above the field no matter what. That will make it a bit clearer to follow. So div label. Are they using label? Inspect. Span class. Label text. Yeah, okay, so there's label and class label, fine. Label, and the text would be label. Div, how do they do that? Div class, div label, span class. Okay. I don't know if it's actually necessary, but let's just see. We're going to do a case here on the type. And if the type is input, then we're going to put an input field. So we need to also backquote that. Input. And how do we do that here? Data bind, and we're going to insert the name, field name. Okay. That's one thing. We also need password, input, and the, what is it, type password? Input type password. Okay. Next would be text area. That's going to be a text area. Also, in every one of these, I probably need to be splicing in the attributes just in case. So, or like that. Okay, like that. Okay, and then text area, and what was I doing with that? Text area. Also a data bind on bio, and then rows calls. This is basically the same pattern on every one of those. And we're going to need a div for the error message. We're just going to put that like that for now, just so that we can see it. Now we got a procedure, unbound variable password, text area. Where is that showing up? What? Unbound variable password and text area. Whoops. That makes sense. All right, so emit form field. Now, let's go change the form code here. And what I'm going to do is comment all this stuff out right here for the moment. And then splice in a map of emit form field on register form. There we go. Let's see what that does. Not that one. Where is the... Boom. All right, so it's rendering. Seems to be working the way that we expect it to. I didn't actually put a... I guess we don't need a colon on those. So those are fine for now. Are we missing something at the end? Where's the button? I think we must have screwed up the code somewhere though, because I don't see the button anymore. Let me make sure. We got the splice in here. And after that, we've got the div for the button. Does it show up in the HTML at all? Let's inspect right here and then see what's below it. Okay, so nothing is below it. Something got screwed up. Let's see. Field by... Oh, I need to fix that too. Hyphen. Account details. All right, all that stuff. The text area in the div. Oh, the text area. I need to put the empty string. That's one thing that's not so cool about SXML sometimes is that you will end up getting bitten by missing things. So now the create account button is there. Create account. Let's just call that register. Be consistent. All right, and we're gonna go delete all that. Cool. Now we're good. All right. I think what we need to do You know, I'm going to take a 2-minute break, and I'll be right back. We'll think about this a bit more. Be right back. All right, so the idea here is how do we actually initialize the text for whether there's an error. And I think that what we need to do is actually have the value of the form field at the time that we are trying to emit it. So we might need to expand this into an actual lambda that then uses match directly, or an actual procedure that uses match directly. So I'm just going to leave this off for the moment. Let's just leave this off for the moment. The div will be there. That's okay if it's there. Yeah, there's nothing there at the moment. I think this would also be useful for editing the user profile at some point. We need a password validation field also. Validate your password. Sorry, password confirmation to make sure they're the same. That's one thing I haven't thought about yet. Okay, so we also need to put the debounce logic in. So if I were to go look at that one more time, there is debounce on the input, data on keybound, key down, debounce. Now this is where the interesting stuff happens. Test ID. Now what is this test ID thing? They're putting data test ID input underscore field. Where does that come up? Reference. Test ID. What is this? Are they making that up? I don't see that anywhere. Unless it's like a custom thing. Oops, let's see, right there. No, right here. Unless that's being used for like unit tests somehow. But it shouldn't be necessary, so Is there signals in this? There's no signals here. Inline validation data. I'm trying to figure out how. Let me check. Get out of here. I didn't ask for you. Inline. No, it's not here. Samples. No. All right, ID inline validation, setup example inline validation, setup example inline validation. Where does that come from? Not here. Is it in an examples file? Let's see. Come on now. Example. Okay, fine. No. Okay. I wonder if that's from the template that's being generated. Set up examples. Active examples, backend examples, router, routes, examples, data. Trying to figure out how the route is getting created. Yeah, they've abstracted things a little bit too much for the purpose of the examples that it's kind of difficult to see how it flows. Okay, so let me explain to you what it is I'm thinking. When the event, which is this the bounce, makes a request, and let's see, we're gonna put that in here. I think that is valid. We're gonna do a get on register validate. I think that's right, wasn't it? Routes register / validate. Was that right? Did I do that wrong? So when we call validate, it's going to send us the entire value of the signals as a query string parameter. But I think what we need is a way to indicate which field is the one that is currently being validated. And maybe that's what the whole test ID thing is for. But I don't know what that means. Search inline validation. Found the route. Thank you, Trev. Code. Oh, it's got a dot, dot, dot. Oh. Sure, fine. Give me 1 second. Okay, so code results. Examples, inline validation. Is that data on load yet? Data on, whoa. That's kind of freaky the way they got this set up. Div ID, inline validation, data on load, get examples, inline validation slash data. So that's sort of, that is the endpoint. I see. So what we see here, the user component, this is being returned, I think, by that route. So every time the entire form is being regenerated. And I think that's what they were saying. If missing, okay. Got it. So the entire form is being revalidated every time the debounce event happens. That's okay. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. That's an interesting way to do it, though, I guess. So you basically just re-render the entire form. Let me see. What am I doing here? So register form. And it's just this section right here, I think. So that whole thing needs to get re-emitted. And ID inline validation. And then we look at the markdown file, inline validation. So it's not register form there. Chris says it seems wasteful. I was watching the network console go nuts every time I typed into a field. Well, it debounces on 500 milliseconds. So basically, when you stop typing, it will try to validate. But yeah, I guess, okay. This all makes sense. This all does kind of make sense. So the validation can be done either real time on an event, or it can be done whenever you click register. You could do a final pass of validation over all the fields and then show the same error messages. So the whole process can be done either in real time as you type or both. It could be done in both. And also make sure that at the very end that the validation was completed before we allow the form to be submitted. Or as part of the submit button. Okay. So it's almost like a post in a way. You don't want it to actually complete. Yeah, so we're going to kind of get on the validation endpoint. Maybe I want to post this though. I don't want to be dealing with query strings. So this could be a div with an ID of register form fields. if I said it right. All right, there we go. Now, the register validate procedure will do the same thing. It's going to be a handler. I already got that set up. And we're going to return a SSE response. Call output stream, Lambda port. We're just going to delete all this stuff here, except for merge fragments. Whoops. That's fine. And we're going to put our form stuff back in right there. That's going to be back quoted. Go delete all the rest. All right, so the idea is that the register validate handler will just return a new copy of the form whenever it gets requested. But we need to validate based on the real values that came through. So we need to do a let field values. And we're going to do a similar thing where we say UTF-8 to, yep, signals here. Got that in. That. Well, let's just call it signals. That's fine. It's going to be an A list. And maybe emit form field, register form. How are we going to deal with the validations? So should emit form field deal with the validation logic, I wonder? Doesn't really feel like it. Emit form field. It feels like maybe it should only deal with the message itself. So emit form field. Let's just try it anyway. Okay, so that changes emit form field to now have another parameter. Emit form field signals in this case is going to be an empty list because it would be an A list otherwise. Now emit form field, it should, whenever it's running through, try to run the validators. So form field validator, it will submit each field separately. No. We will render the entire form, and then when the user starts typing in one of the fields, after 500 milliseconds of idle time after typing, it will send a request to the validation backend, which will generate the entire form again, all the divs or the DOM elements for the entire form, and send them back with validation information included. So form field validator, and we could try to do this on a more granular level, but I'm not sure exactly how to do that. But it is possible, I think. All right, so form field validator for field, we're gonna execute that on the sock ref signals form field name field. We're going to call that validator. Okay, so form field validator field sock ref signals. trying to think of a way to make this. Almost needs to be like an or. Or an empty string. And any validator probably needs to return false, which feels wrong from the... So, or... Zerka says, what mini buffer completion are you using now? I'm still using Fido vertical mode because I didn't want to fight with the completions configuration in the stream. But I am going to try to use that completions configuration at some point, like the default completions. All right, so string length is greater than 0. No. That should be equal. So if string length is equal to 0, then it should return the string. Otherwise, if it's greater than 0, then it should return false. Okay, so we want to return false in that case. Then that should work. All right, I'm kind of curious to see what this does if I just reload the page. It should show. All right, got a little error here. Let's see what's in the compilation buffer. Wrong number of arguments to emit form field. Emit form field. Register form. Signals. Oops. All right, this is a nice little place to use that cut that we talked about before. Cut, emit form field. Then that, then the signals. All right. And we're going to map that over register form. That's like the default view, I guess. And we're going to need to pull in Surfy 26 for that. And then we'll go back to not emit form field, but register user view. Oh, what time is it? Man, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this than I wanted to. But it's interesting, though. Another error. Not empty. Not empty. Value and label. All right, so I need to pass the label in for the validator. So not only do I pass in the value, I pass in the form field label of the field. Expecting string trim both. String trim both. Oh, yeah. So not empty. And value. So we need to make sure there's actually a value there. There might not be a value yet. Next. Whoops. Refresh. And there's an error. Whoop. What am I doing? String trim both. Am I not checking it? Oh. Let's see. Not writing it, is it? Did I put the logger in? Yeah, logger's here. In routes, register user view, map, emit form field, not empty. F username. Oh, the field itself. Emit form field. That should be right. Oh, did I screw something up? Hold on. Does that want the field itself? Undefined, undefined, undefined. Oh, okay. So wait, it is the right form field. It's username. We're on emit form field. We're in username. Name, type, label, validator, and form field. Oh, I don't need to do that. Validator. Name. Is that right? Validator, name. All right, so let's see what we got now. Still string trim both. A soak ref signals name. Signals name. A list key. We pass that into validator. Why is not empty not doing the right thing then? Seems like something's wrong here. Unless, oh, let me do this. I think I might have screwed up. Let me re-register the form. I think it's using, what is going on? I think it's using an old version of the function. Get out of here. What is happening? Why is he trying to save? Wrong type to apply, F. Interesting. All right, no values. That's good. Now we're making progress. So the problem is that I had passed not empty in as a value here, and it stored that in the form field. So the newer version of the not empty function was not being executed. That makes sense. Now, what is the problem here? On bio, emit form field bio. This also is wrong now. So this needs to be cut. In the same way. I don't know that that matters at the moment, but let's try it anyway. Okay. Oh, and that doesn't have a validator. So I need to make sure I don't call the validator. And validator. There we go. That's probably the issue. Boom. All right, so now we don't have the validator output, which is kind of interesting. Oh, well, let's see. And validator, a suck ref, signals name, label. Check value. Yes, we got a few different check values here. And value. Actually. That seems more correct. Or wait, hold on. I don't want it to short circuit early. So if value is true, and we run the validator, and it returns true, this whole thing would return true, but we don't want that. We actually want it to return false. I mean, I guess we could do that. So if the value is true and this is equal to 0, invert it, and then return the error. That just seems kind of wacky, but... And it didn't work either. Oh, because I need to re-eval the register form. There we go. Username must be provided. Email must be provided. Now, let's type something here. Did it go to the back end? Did not seem to call the back end. Let's see. Oh, one password is jumping in. That's nice. Also in the routes, I don't know if I ever reevaluated the routes. Package ship boat action handler. What? Package tip boat. Sorry. Package tip boat action and tips. Package ID, tip ID. Package tip, boat action handler. Apparently that's not needed. Okay. So now validate should be a valid route, but it's still not going there. So I wonder what happened. Let me actually look at the field. So data on key down, debounce 500 milliseconds equals post. That seems to be in the right format. Data on key bound underscore to bounce 500 milliseconds. This is like a special syntax that Datastar uses on attributes. Zerka says, what browser do you use? This is Firefox. I haven't tried to experiment that much with, what do you call it? LibreWolf yet. I would rather just not use Firefox, but I don't have a better option. All right, so register validate, user register validate handler. User register validate handler. It's not calling it. Post register validate. I didn't actually see any events registered though, did you? Like if I look at this, oh, it says event. Input. Yikes. On key down, Datastar. Set value, stringify, jeez. Find unsupported signal type. So it does have a binding set for that. Can I not search inside this thing? Did you check the network tab? Yeah, it didn't show any requests. Yeah, nothing is happening. Peter says LibreWolf is not recognized by browsers for some reason. That is the only thing holding me back. It's not recognized by websites. Hickory says LibreWolf is slow compared to Firefox. Hickory says, is it just means there's no sound? Do you have sound now? Are you okay? If I turn it into a get, will it work? Just for giggles. Oh, and I never reevaluated that. Is that why I didn't do it? No. Curious. Interesting that it's holding the state. Why is it holding the state? Did the browser do that? I didn't tell it to save those signals. Thinking. Carswell's Coat says LibreWolf likes to present itself as a Windows 10 browser. What kind of Windows 10 browser? Use suggested password. Maybe I would. Internet Explorer 11. Yeah, no sites like that one. I don't know why it does that, unless it's trying to avoid like certain types of tracking or something. All right. I guess it's not working. Data on key down. Can I just take the bounce thing off and see if that makes any difference? Is the 1Password thing causing a problem somehow? Doesn't seem to be. Oh, what's going on in the console? Ooh, console. Invalid regular expression flag A. All right, so something else is going on here. Invalid regular expression flag. Let me check the error details. Data on. A? Am I missing the URL single quotes? Is that what the problem is? That's probably what the problem is, right? Let's check this out. Maybe this is the issue. I should have been looking at the console the whole time. There it is. Username must be provided. Oh, but it doesn't put the value back in. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So validation is slightly working. Let's look at check value. Now, inside of emit form field, I believe I need to... let me think about this for a second. What did they do in their code? Because I'm losing the value. Data signals if missing. I think I need to be putting the signals in the form and not in the level above. I think that's part of what's happening here. Yeah, okay. So I made a mistake. So the validation is working. What I need to do is generalize the creation of that form. Emit register form. So fields and signals. What I can do is get rid of that. And the data signals will come along in this part. So it's going to be a div for register form. Okay. Like that. And then we can do the same kind of emitting of the fields. Where was that? This can go away now. So in users views, emit form field. This can now change to just be emit register form with register fields, register form, right? Or maybe no, let's just not over abstract yet. Let's just try to make this simple. So emit register form, and what is the thing we're going to do next? It is signals. We're just going to pass the same signals right back through. We're going to cut that out. Okay. And then in register form, we're going to drop this back in. We're going to take that part out. And then now we have that function complete. But for the data signals, we're going to have to do a little surgery here to write these out. Now in the DataStar library, I have something for merge signals. Scheme to JSON signals. Okay, so that's pretty simple then. So with output to string, I might need to steal that. And right here, that can just be injected. Okay, so we're taking that A list of the current signals and we're just dumping it back in there. I don't know how accurate this is though. This could be somewhat problematic, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So initially the signals will all be empty. And in this code right here, we no longer want to do this. What we want to do is call emit register form with an empty A list. Let's go reload the page. Okay, wow, okay, we got a lot of complaints here. Register error message is not defined. All right, so we kind of need to have register error message. You know, we don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore because now we do validation per field. I think that should all be fine. And we could even include the div for the button inside of the register form. So if we go to emit register form, just throw this at the end. All right, so that looks good. Type some characters. Validation does not go away. Merge fragments, selector or ID, register form fields. I think emit register form. ID register form. Huh. Well, I didn't tell it that. Register form. Still complaining. Register form fields. I don't know why. Fields. The hell? Thelema says I feel like a potato when I watch you do stuff like this. Come on now. I'm just stumbling around like anyone else. So, disable HTTP cache, which should not be cached. I have no idea. And why are there 2 register account buttons? Oh, I didn't reevaluate the which procedure was that? It is user register view. There we go. Now I think it will work, but it doesn't. Dude, there is no register form fields. There's nothing in the page that says register form fields. So there's something that I have not updated yet. Emit register form, is that it? Emit form field. That's one problem with REPL-based development, is that something is in a weird state right now, and I have no idea which procedure it is. User register view. In post register form, user account has been created. Please proceed to login. Okay. Let's restart the server because something is busted. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to restart this. Okay. And then I'm going to reconnect the REPL. Okay. Reload the page. Yeah. Oh, wow. So it no longer validates username. That's kind of interesting. I wonder what... Huh. So what does it do? Yeah, we spent the whole time on this thing, but I guess it's okay. We got a little bit of a framework for dealing with forms now with validation. So, I mean, it's kind of worthwhile, I guess. It can be used elsewhere. Will have to be expanded upon, but I didn't expect to spend this much time on it. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Get my brain back together. So we need an initial. So we can't just give it an empty list. We need an initial signals list. I need to generate signals based on the fields. So there could be default values, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. Define. Let's see. I think that I need to, for the initial form, say map what's that going to be? We're going to map over the register form fields. Register form lambda field. For each of those, we're going to return a const of the form field name of field and an empty string. I wonder if it's possible to use cut for that. It'd be kind of cool if you could. Kind of like a compound expression. So const form field name for the field and an empty string. Let's try it, see what happens. All right, possibly unbound variable. Okay, so it doesn't work in a sub expression. That's all right. I can just do that. Okay, so what that does is it generates the initial signals for the form fields so that they show up right. Still doesn't. Emit register form. I want to print out the signals. So log info current signals. Let's just do that. Pull up our compilation buffer. Current signals is nothing. No way. Okay, so signals ought to be fields and signals. This is wrong. Just going to reeval some stuff to make sure everything's fine. Register user view, emit register form, map lambda field, const form field name field. That should create an A list. Pass in as the initial signals. That really makes no sense. Oh, is it because I'm an idiot? I didn't put in... Yes, it is because I'm an idiot. Let's do that. And also let's do this. We need a format string. And a correct format string. All right, username, email, full name, password, bio. Returning false? What's it doing? Maybe it is a string. Hey, Kit. Okay. So the problem is we have empty strings and emit form field does not seem to be complaining about them. Maybe I screwed up the logic though. Maybe I did screw up the logic. So if value and yeah, that's my mistake. I think I screwed up the logic on that. There's a value and the length is greater than 0. Then we're going to invert that for an AND. Because we don't want it to return true. We want it to return false. All right. Cool. I think this is the thing. That doesn't make any sense. But let's check it. Huh. And where are the signals? It should be getting written out. Okay, now it's working. Finally, jeez. User ID. Oh, okay, yeah. That was one thing I was concerned about. It's sending all the page signals back along with it, so it's a little bit risky. But I don't know if there's a way to actually deal with that aside from calling merge signals and not writing the signals back out as part of the page. But anyway, it's fine. So where are we at? We have page validation. Username must be provided. Foo. 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 Oh, now the fields are getting erased. Why are they getting erased? Wait a second. They're in there. The signal values are in there, so why are they not being written back out? Can I look at the element in the page? Oh, you know what? I think that was another thing they did here. Data signals if missing. Okay. Right. That way it doesn't get overwritten. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Signals. Right here. So we need to change this to be __ if missing. And the reason why is because we don't want it to overwrite the signals that are in the page whenever this element gets inserted. So those signals won't be there the first time the form gets rendered, but every subsequent time the form gets rendered and inserted back in the page, we don't want it to overwrite everything. So let's see now if that actually helps. I deleted it again. I don't know what the hell's going on. What is your problem? Is there like a console error? Is something going on? No. Hold on a second. Only merges signals if their keys do not already exist. This is useful for setting defaults without overwriting initial or existing values. What is it writing out? So let's just check this real quick. No. Whoops, wrong page. JSON version username, email, full name, password, bio. Okay, username is correct. Whiff. Is it because I'm putting the value in the field when I emit it? I don't think so. I'm not, am I? Data bind, name. Yeah, I'm not putting the value in. Okay, something's weird. Let me just double check. Oh, is valid. Nice. Data bind field. Test ID. Don't know what this test ID is about. So it appears that it keeps replacing the values here somehow. I'm wondering if I did something else wrong. So emit form field. That's all good. Emit register form. User register view. Data signals. So data dash signals. Am I doing that anywhere else in this file? No. So if missing, only if missing, do I write out this string? And this string seems valid as a signal JSON blob that goes into the attribute. And it also does seem to me that the signals are being kept correctly. Oh, they're not, are they? Now that's curious. Let's just reload the page. Yeah, it's keeping the values. The signals are there, but the data binding is not. Wait, what? Username, password. Password, full name. Yeah, it seems like certain ones are being wiped every time, and I'm not sure why. Full name, password, email, username, bio. They're all different. And the field names should not be changing. Data bind bio. Did I screw that up? No. Seems right. I don't think this should matter. Data bind name, data bind name. Initial value of the signal is set to the value of the element unless a signal has already been defined. So in the example below, foo is set to bar. Whereas in the example below, foo inherits the value baz of the predefined signal. Data bind, foo, data bind foo, value bar. Okay. So it's really the data bind that matters. So emit form field. We're inside of register form. The signals are being inserted if they're missing. That's going to come here where everything is going to be an empty string to start with. Well, let's just see this. Let's try that. Foo. Just for giggles. Oh, okay. So foo is in here. That's kind of weird. So why are the values not showing up then? Data bind email. It's like every time it gets written back out, the new field divs don't pick up the values correctly. You default to food, then change something. Will it reset the food? That's a great question. CMAX says, what does the network tab look like when you submit? Well, we'll check it out in a second. Where's the foo, buddy? Oh, wrong place. Right there. Foo. Everything gets wiped. The hell? But the values are still there. So somehow the data bindings are being destroyed. Let's check network tab. What's being sent back? All right, div, register form, data signals if missing. Ooh, these are, is that right? Hold on. Is escaped output? Did SXML do that for me? Are you trying to help me? Because you're not helping. Oh, for God's sake. Yes, Jason parsing escaping. Good call, CMAC. What do I need to do to prevent SXML from doing that business? Because that's wrong. Everything else looks okay. I think it's just that string. It must be breaking Datastar. Datastar is getting freaked out by this unusual stuff, and it's not telling me in the console that there's any kind of error. All right, Guile SXML. Is there any way to get like a raw string come out? Thinking. C data? Good God. This can't be right, man. There's got to be some way to deal with this. The ultra silly way to deal with this, which I really don't want to do, let's see. Emit register form. Yikes, this is such a mess. Two solutions. One would be find some way to inject the string into the output, which feels really dirty. Because what I would do here is replace this insert of the JSON string with like some string like signal here. And then I would go replace that string in the output before it gets sent back, like after we use SXML to XML. But I don't like that. The other option is to, on the validation response, I'm sending a, where is it? Merged fragments. I could also send a merged signals, but I would have to conditionally not include the signals in this case. So I would have to just like not include this part of the response or of the form, which is fine. I could do that. It just feels maybe this is better. Okay, let's just do that. If signals didn't, when would it ever work though? When would that ever work? Does data starting to have some way to deal with that? So data signals. Dot notation, key value pairs, keys represent signal names, values. Okay, so the alternative is not to use the JSON form and actually use the attribute form. So I can basically generate a list of attributes for everything. So maybe that's better. How about that? So we're going to splice in. So we're going to go scheme, not scheme to JSON. We already got signals as an A list, so we don't need to do that. We can do this instead. And we can also do this. Data signals if... we'll have to do the if missing on every one of them. Maybe. All right, I really need to end this. Let's figure it out. Data signals if missing signals and then the name. Why don't they have this issue on their examples? Probably because it's a me issue. It's an SXML issue and not an issue that they probably come up with or they come across. So this could probably be a string, right? So format false. Data signals A if missing. This needs to be a lambda. Hold up. Met form field signals. Yeah. That's right. So this needs to be a splice. And we're going to map. And we're going to take a lambda with a field. Form field name field. This is going to be a list where we have the name. Is that right? No. Signal. Our signal. That feels like it. Okay. Okay, so format F, status signals with the field name if missing. Is that right? Yep. Computer signal. Signals. Let's see. Error. Symbol to string, wrong type in argument position 1. Expecting symbol. Yeah, why don't you just accept a string, buddy? I mean, God. I don't want to have to call symbol to string and then you just go right back and call, or string to symbol, then you just go right back and call symbol to string. It just seems kind of a pointless thing to do, but never. String to symbol. Fine, you win. All right. It ain't working, that's for sure. We're going to get the foo out of here. So emit register form, lambda, const form field name field. And where did I do that? Emit register form, JSON version. Let's also replicate what we're doing here because I kind of want to see what this looks like. Okay, so not JSON version. Crash. Wrong type to apply. Data signals username if missing, email if missing, full name, signals bio if missing. I'm calling that as a function what the hell? Calling that as a function somewhere, it seems. Emit register form with output to string. All right. Oh. Yep. That looks righter. More right, let's say. Okay. What the hell? What is happening? I'm fully perplexed. This looks right to me. Data signals username if missing foo user ID. So look, I only see 2. Are we missing something? Are they empty if I must be doing something stupidly wrong. There's a value now. Why is it not showing up? It's data bound, for God's sake. Signals, username, if missing foo, form field username. Data bind username. Where is it? And why is there an empty div after? Oh, that's from the validation error stuff. So the backend knows there's a value because there's no validation message, but the text is not showing up anymore. Creates a signal if one doesn't already exist and sets up a two-way data binding between it and an element's value. So if I were to not do what I just did and only use data bind, it creates one if it doesn't already exist, right? And sets up the two-way data binding between it and an element's value. Input data bind foo. Initial value of the signal is set to the value of the element unless a signal has already been defined. So in the example below, foo is set to bar. So should I even bother with putting the signals in? Maybe I should not do that. So, data signal. Let's leave it out. Still doesn't work. I'm really confused. This makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. Console, network. I'm sorry. No messages for this. No. It has a response. there an error? That's not true. Is that why there's a problem now? Can I see the raw? Where's the damn thing to drag this up? Dude, give me some kind of hint. Sure, there's raw request. What about the response? It's acting like I'm not sending anything back, which makes absolutely no sense. Because I know I am. 200. 200 response. What is the content of the 200 response then? Wait a second. Hold up. Let's just get that out of there. But it has to be returning something. The fucking response. What is the deal? Okay, register form. We didn't put anything special in there. Form field username. Data bind username. Yeah, this is really weird. It's right. All right. And it clearly seems that the values are there because the validation messages go away. And if I empty the field, I get the validation messages back again. So it's just not replacing the string whenever it updates the UI for some reason. And I don't think I'm doing that unless the SXML is doing it somehow. Data bind, type. I mean, it shouldn't be. There's no value being applied here. And even if there was, the documentation says that if there's a value, the initial value of the signal is set to the value of the element unless a signal has already been defined. So there is a signal already. So any value that's there should be ignored and the signal value should be used instead. The only way I can justify this, let's see, just for laughs. I don't want to have to do this, but just for laughs, let's see. Emit form field. We have the signal already. A sock ref signal's name. Let's just get the current value. So let value sock ref signals. Need to do that inside. Right here. Name. And we're gonna push this forward a little bit, realign everything, and then here we can get rid of that value. Okay, and then in the input field, we're gonna set the damn value to value. This should not be necessary. Still doesn't work. And there's no error saying there's something wrong. Emit form field. We're emitting it. I want to see what the output is. So, copy value, copy response. Go back to Scratch. Paste it out. Which one did I type into? Did it clear it for me? Because I know I'm setting it. Oh, you know what? Unbalanced parentheses. Did it ever... Maybe I never actually evaluated that expression correctly. That would explain some things. All right, here we go. Ooh, that's a mess. You see that? Oh, so it's actually doing it while you're typing, and it's overriding the things that you're writing. Slightly. All right, so oh, look at that. Then it puts it back. What is going on here? Holy shit. That's busted. All right, I'm real confused. I don't know what to say about that. And I don't have more time, so we're gonna have to pause it right there. Was it worth it? I mean, it was worth trying to see what it would be like to make a small validation framework and use the Datastar approach. I'm intrigued, but at the same time, I'm completely mystified by why it's not acting as it's supposed to. So I might have to consult with some people in the Datastar community to see why this is not working, because I'm really confused. Glenn says some issue with that 500 millisecond debounce value. No, probably not that. I think that there is a conflict here. So you're not supposed to do what I was doing. I was setting the value in the input field on the response, and that confuses things. It's supposed to be the case that when you have the fields set up with a data binding and you put something in there, when the response comes back, the signal value that's already in the page should be used in the data binding to put the value back into the input field, but it's not. It's coming back as an empty value. And I'm not sure why that's happening. It really doesn't make any sense to me why it's not happening. Based on what we see with the demonstration of inline validation, you should be able to just start typing and then boom, it does the right thing. Email's already taken or invalid. So yeah, it's supposed to just work. And it's also not supposed to rewrite what you're typing, but I can actually see the debounce is putting the cursor at the end of the lines, which is a little bit weird. So it's not perfect. It's definitely not a perfect model. It may just be the case that thought we saw that the data is something equals string was not correct JSON. Yeah, I changed that model and I actually just removed it entirely, because what it says is that a signal is created for each data bind if it doesn't already exist. So when we start sending things in the page, Where did I take that out? Let's just go back here. We're gonna log info, current signals, just to see what it looks like. I think what we're gonna see is that at first there's not gonna be any. Okay, so it does have the signals for everything. So I did not need to predefine the signals. They're already defined by virtue of the data bindings. Strangely, it has a signal there. And then it like kind of disappears somehow. Value is still there. I tab out of the field, but then it says username must be provided because it's wiping it itself somehow. I'm not sure why that's happening. Unless I'm doing something somewhere else that's wrong. I've probably got a bug in my code somehow. But it does not seem that we need to pre-declare the signals at all. Because they do show up. It's just whenever that element gets replaced, for some reason it loses the value of that field. And then it goes away entirely. So there's another validate, I think when my cursor leaves a field, that eats it. Because it's there and then it's not there anymore. Yeah, so we've got values in 2 of the fields. They're all there. All the signals are there. They're being sent along with the request. They're just not being maintained in the actual DOM, which is very strange. Anyway, I'll have to look into that some more. I'm not certain whether I should check this in. Maybe I will check it in just to have like the current state of it. I'm not going to deploy it yet because it's non-functional. But anyway, was it worth it? I don't know. But it was fun to write it. Carswell says, web development, fun for all the family, particularly when you don't like your family. Well, I wouldn't put it that way, but it is fun. It's just this framework makes you do things a little bit differently, which is good. I like the way that it does things, but this is not making a whole lot of sense in my opinion. I mean, what we could try is get the debounce stuff out of there and just do validation at the end and not like as you type. But it may still have the same effect. Because I don't think it's the debounce that's doing it. I think it's the replacement of the DOM elements and something I'm doing in the DOM that's causing it not to work. So anyway, I got to cut the stream now. I will commit the code as it is, and then if you want to take a look at it and try your hand at fixing the issue, please feel free. Trev says, we've already come this far. Maybe I will bug hunt. Yeah, I'll check the code and you can take a look at it, Trev, if you want to. Glenn says, great stream. Also glad to see it's not just me that's baffled by some random thing. Oh, this is programming. Being baffled by some random thing is literally the day-to-day experience of being a programmer. And usually it's just a lot of cursing on my part, some of which you heard today, and then banging my head and then eventually finding the solution. So anyway, thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday for the next session of Crafter Hours. Until then, happy hacking. See ya.